Well, I had a lot of respect, but no, we ran a good race. Just got to get a little better strategy next time. Followed our teammate, third truck to pit. Good lap times, good team effort. 5 more laps, been third.
The business of NASCAR can be a very tough one in the year of 2020. Substantial sponsorship dollars are required to race, and there are thousands of drivers across the country who might not even have the money or space to race for a top-tier team. The extensive work that is put in by any driver, however, still might not guarantee a sponsor or a ride by the end of the day. There is one driver who knows just how hard and unforgiving the business of NASCAR can be. It's Ross Chastain. I'm Alex Gallagher, and welcome to this 4th edition of After the Flag. In today's episode, we will be examining the career of Ross Chastain, a driver who has spent nearly 8 years building up his career only to have it ripped out from under him. By the end of this video, I hope to show you just how Chastain managed to succeed in the harsh business of NASCAR and rise like a phoenix in order to save his career. Sit back, strap in, and grab some watermelon, because our story begins on a Florida watermelon farm. Growing up on a watermelon farm, Chastain's love of racing was picked up after watching his father race as a hobby. Despite not having a lot of money, Chastain was racing late models all over the state of Florida by the age of 12. Winning over 50 races, Chastain would put himself on the map after winning the World Series of Asphalt at New Smyrna Speedway in 2011. Following that win, Chastain would make his NASCAR Camping World Truck Series debut racing for Turn 1 Racing at IRP. After finishing 10th, Chastain would bounce around to 2 other teams that season, Panhandle Motorsports and RSS Racing, before landing his first full-time ride in 2012 with SS Greenlight.
Look at that! There's a window into watermelon, which is, I know, near and dear to your heart.
I mean, if you've got a big TV screen and plenty of watermelons.
The watermelon queens are there. Take a look at that. Yeah, Ross Chastain actually tweeted earlier, just dropped off a bin of fresh from Florida, all for watermelons at, well, your shop.
That's a lot of watermelon.
And there are some happy people at my shop, I promise you that.
After logging 3 top 10s and an incredible 3rd place at Bristol, Chastain announced he'd be running part-time for his first big-budget team the following year, Brad Keselowski Racing. In his first 6 starts for Brad Keselowski in the number 19, Chastain would log 1 top 10 finish. However, after scoring a 5th at Pocono, Chastain's luck began to change. After logging a 7th in the inaugural Chevy Silverado 250 at CTMP, Chastain would see his closest chance at a win yet. After starting on pole at Iowa, Chastain dominated the race, leading 116 laps. However, in a bittersweet finale, he would end up finishing runner-up to James Buescher. After 3 more consistent races and a 3rd at Talladega, Chastain would once again show his speed again, this time at Phoenix. In similar shades to Iowa, Chastain would put his truck on pole and lead 63 laps. But once again, he would be struck by the bad luck bug and be beaten by then KBM prospect Eric Jones. After the 2013 season, Keselowski and BKR would part ways, citing a lack of agreement regarding Chastain's future. Continuing with the trend, Chastain kept busy and took as many opportunities that came his way. After running 2 Truck Series events for RBR Enterprises and 1 for Wintron, Chastain made the leap in 2014 to also running part-time Xfinity Series races. Chastain drove for 3 teams that season: Viva Motorsports, TriStar Motorsports, and Hattori Racing Enterprises. Competing in a combined 7 races, Chastain's best finish of the year was a 10th place at Kentucky driving for Hattori. Chastain would also team up with Hattori for 2 K&N Pro Series East races as well. In 2015, Chastain would take a break from Truck Series racing to focus on his first full-time season in the Xfinity Series with JD Motorsports. Replacing Jeffrey Earnhardt, Chastain would start the season with a bang. In the season opening race at Daytona, Chastain would bring the number 4 Flex Seal Chevy home 9th for what would be his best career finish. Logging 3 more top 10s and a 15th place points finish, it made it a no-brainer for Johnny Davis to bring him back full-time in 2016. However, Chastain would have a bit of a tougher year that season. Logging a best finish of 11th at Daytona, Chastain would once again return to JD Motorsports for 2017. But that would not be the only thing up his sleeves that year. In addition to his 33 Xfinity races, Chastain would also make 7 Truck Series starts for Bolin Motorsports and a Cup Series debut for Premium Motorsports at Dover. Chastain's 2 starts would have a best finish of 20th. But on the Xfinity Series side, Chastain would finally get a chance to shine. After an average start to the season, Chastain would score a 4th place at Iowa, the best finish ever for a JD Motorsports car. Following that up the following week at Daytona with a 6th place effort, Chastain's passion to race and improving results managed to turn a lot of heads for 2018. Signing with Premium Motorsports for the 34 Cup races in the number 15 Chevy, Chastain would also re-sign with JD Motorsports and add 7 more Truck Series starts with various lower funded teams. However, The most major head that Chastain managed to turn was the head of legendary Motorsports owner Chip Ganassi. Ganassi signed Chastain to their development program, as well as 3 Xfinity Series races in the number 42 DC Solar Chevy alongside Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, and John Hunter Nemechek. Logging a best finish of 18th in the Cup Series at Texas and a best Truck Series finish of 7th at Las Vegas, Chastain would really take the Xfinity Series by storm in 2018. Starting out the season once again with a bang, Chastain would log a 9th place at Daytona, giving JD Motorsports one of their best seasons yet. Chastain would finish 10th at Fontana and another 10th at Daytona, 9th at Bristol, 7th at Road America, and another 4th place finish at Iowa.
Great job by Ross Chastain. Ross reminds me a lot of Brendan Gaughan because you always see him with a smile on his face. He gives great interviews and always upbeat. So, you see drivers like that, and it's good to see him have runs, especially with a team, a low budget like this, as Brendan was pointing out. Man, when you go have a top 10 run, that's like a win to a lot of people. He's sitting there chasing down Elliott Sadler, who has finished second in the points championship the last few years.
However, in his 3 starts with Chip Ganassi, Chastain would prove he is ready and deserving of a real proper full-time ride. Making his debut with the team at Darlington, Chastain would score his first Xfinity Series pole. Leading 90 laps, Chastain would finish 25th after tangling with Kevin Harvick, who had a little bit of some choice words for Chastain.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to stay as low as I could, and he just rode on my door. That's just a really inexperienced racer and a really bad move there. And got the air on, got on beside me and just kept going up the racetrack. I couldn't do anything with the wheels. So got a really inexperienced guy in a really fast car that made a really bad move and then wrecked me. Down the back straightaway, hooked me to the right. So just probably the reason that he'll never get to drive many of them again.
However, 2 weeks later at Las Vegas, Chastain would respond to Harvick's comments in the best way possible. After starting 5th, Chastain would take the lead early from Cole Custer. Leading for a total of 180 laps, Chastain would get his redemption and see victory for the first time in his career, proving Harvick's comments aged like milk.
Ross Chastain has shouldered the pressure. Down the backstretch for the final time. The opportunity given to Ross Chastain. Coming out of turn number 4, he's going to earn his first win in the Xfinity Series.
Good job, boys.
From that point on, the Watermelon Smash was born. The win immediately locked Chastain into the playoffs, and following a runner-up position the following week at Richmond in the Ganassi 42, Chastain was back in the JD number 4 for the remainder of the season. However, despite the reduced funded car, Chastain achieved a 10th place points finish. Following 2018, it was announced that Chastain would become the full-time driver of the number 42 DC Solar Chevy for 2019. In what would have been a career and potentially championship contending year, disaster struck and put Chastain's career on hold. During the 2018 offseason, the FBI had raided the home of Jeff Karpoff, the owner of DC Solar. Following the FBI's investigation, it revealed that Karpoff's company DC Solar was actually nothing more than a giant Ponzi scheme. Taking advantage of federal tax credits to trick investors such as Warren Buffett, who lost nearly $340 million to the scheme, what started out as a legit business slowly devolved into a tale of pure unadulterated greed and deception. In addition to all of their NASCAR spending, the Karpoffs ended up spending most of their money on over 150 luxury cars, 32 properties, private jet services, the Martinez Clippers baseball team, and a suite at the brand new Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. After pleading guilty in January to defrauding investors of almost $1 billion, all of DC Solar's assets were liquidated, which meant no more sponsorship money for Chip Ganassi. This affected both their Cup and Xfinity programs, and in the wake of the melee, CGR was owed over $4.3 million, and Larson's Daytona-winning car was seized and auctioned off by the FBI. NASCAR, ISC, and their tracks were all owed over $3 million as well. When it was all said and done, Chip Ganassi Racing was forced to cut Chastain and their Xfinity program entirely. This was an unexpected and heartbreaking blow for Chastain, who had no knowledge of the wrongdoing committed by his sponsor. While a blow like this could have forced other drivers to become disillusioned with the sport and simply quit, Chastain did what he did best: race. He dug in and demonstrated that there were no ride that was too good for him. He took every opportunity he could get in any car to demonstrate his skills. 2019 saw one of Chastain's busiest seasons across all the series. Chastain competed in over 77 races. To break that down, that's an average of one race every 4.5 days. In addition to another 35 races with premium in the Cup Series, Chastain returned to the Xfinity Series as well, racing once again with JD Motorsports. But Chastain was also given a partial deal to run for Kaulig Racing. With the goal of racing the best he could in contending equipment, the Daytona in July race would forever change Chastain's career. Racing a third entry for Matt Kaulig, the number 16, Chastain would qualify fourth and lead a 1-2-3 Kaulig Racing charge to claim the Melon Man's second ever Xfinity Series victory, with teammates Justin Haley and AJ Allmendinger pushing him to the win.
Matt Kaulig wanted this very scenario, to win a race. How about win at Daytona? Ross Chastain will win.
However, in a bittersweet finale, the win would only be a 1-2 as Allmendinger was later DQ'd, but for Chastain, he earned some much-needed redemption. Handing Matt Kaulig his first ever NASCAR win, Chastain would go on to finish second at the final Texas race, driving the number 10. While all of this was going on, Chastain was running full-time in the Truck Series for Nice Motorsports. What started out as a part-time effort, Chastain would earn his first Truck Series win at Kansas. Following the win, Al Nice and Ross Chastain decided to go all in for the championship. Switching his eligibility after Charlotte, Chastain would start to take the Truck Series by storm. Scoring what would have been his second series win at Iowa, Chastain was DQ'd following post-race tech. However, one race later in Gateway, Chastain would be back in victory lane, and this time, he would get to keep the flag.
Ross Chastain is going to come around. Racing redemption at his hands. The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect, and he has done it. Winning at Gateway.
Nice job.
He would record his final win of the season at Pocono, leading all but 6 laps of the race. His performance was good enough to make him eligible for the Gander Outdoors Truck Series playoffs. Despite not winning a race during the playoffs, Chastain qualified for the Championship 4 alongside Matt Crafton, Stuart Friesen, and Brett Moffitt. With a 4th place finish in the race, Chastain would end up second in the final point standings. With all of his 2019 success, Chastain earned big plans for 2020. Following his 6-race stint for Matt Kaulig, it was announced that Chastain would pilot the number 10 Nutrient Agriculture Chevy full-time in the Xfinity Series. He would also return to Nice Motorsports for a partial schedule in the trucks as well. He would also announce he would run the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600 in a partial deal between Spire Motorsports and CGR, with sponsorship coming from Advent Health. Following Ryan Newman's devastating crash on the final lap of the 2020 Daytona 500, Jack Roush would tap Ross Chastain to drive in relief for Newman while he recovered. In only 3 races this season so far, Ross has a best finish of 17th driving the number 6, which came at Fontana. Ross Chastain is a testament to how sometimes when life deals you a bad hand, the only way to overcome it is to keep working hard. Even when it seemed like Chastain was down and out, he continued to take any ride he could get before finally redeeming himself with an opportunity in a top-tiered ride. My advice to all young, aspiring drivers out there is to never give up on your dreams. Let Chastain be your example, and no matter what, even when life kicks you in the gut, perseverance and dedication is all it takes to keep your dream in reach. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you like what you see, don't be afraid to like, share, and subscribe because it really does help me out. And I hope all of my viewers right now are staying safe and staying healthy in a pretty bizarre time to be alive. I'm Alex Gallagher, and thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode.